Say Happy New Year. It's a great new start. And I'm so happy over the last couple of weeks. I have been supported so much. Oh, Cynthia is coming. Happy New Year, Cynthia. And I've been greatly supported by Allison, and we had 2 Zoom calls, and I was wondering what I'm supposed to do, not only for carrying out the every monthly or bi-monthly meetings, but also how to write a report and how to update what has been accomplished, what needs to be done in the coming months. So I'm very appreciative about what Allison has been giving me support. And also I'm happy that Jamal was able and is able today still make up to the meeting for the first beginning and from the airport. So we wish you a great journey, even though you might depart before the meeting was ending. So let's start the new call, and now I call the meeting to order at 7:03 on January the 10th, 2024. And let me start off. Fang is present in Ann Arbor. Sarah?
Present in Chelsea.
Benita?
Present in Ann Arbor.
Jamal?
Present in Detroit Metro Airport. So
Right.
Romulus, I guess.
Romulus, that's right. And John?
Present in Ann Arbor.
Okay. Sophie?
Present in Ann Arbor.
Allison?
Present in Ann Arbor.
And Marinetta?
Present Ann Arbor.
Cynthia?
Just became president in Ann Arbor. I just walking in the door from the airport.
Oh,
But I'm here.
Oh, Peggy is on board too. And Mary, we're starting the roll call. Are you in Ann Arbor too, Mary, now? No.
I'm in Grass Lake.
Oh, Grass Lake. Okay. And Peggy?
Yes, Peggy Leonard. I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay, thank you. And actually, I'm expecting Shawam is coming on board. Maybe he's not, right? Does Sophie know any info?
No, I just texted him just now, and
Okay, we'll see.
maybe he'll
Yeah.
join us, I hope so.
Sure. Okay, so I'm very thankful that Vanilla has sent me out to send also everybody in Ann Arbor Art Commission meeting agenda for today. So all of us can express a motion, set a motion for approval of the agenda.
So move.
The agenda.
Approval of the agenda. Okay. Have you all read that? Okay, great. Cynthia, you might send an emoji. Okay, so, and we don't have any public participations for today. So, we might have somebody coming on later. So we'll watch out that and welcome.
We do have 2 guests on. I've invited them to be panelists, and I believe they just may be participating as guests. So I'll.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, you can invite them on board if they could, speak, maybe give us some advice if that's what you are able to do, right? You can invite not only panelists, but also the participants onto the Zoom call, right?
Yes, I did. I had declined, so yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so anybody has any new ideas that you want to put into the agenda before we move on? No? Okay, Sophie.
Yes, we will, but I think it would come under committee reports. probably,
Okay,
so it can
okay.
be a bit.
Okay, excellent. Okay, let's move on. Thank you for approval of the, what about the minutes? Vanita sent us for the last November, the minutes. Do you all approve of that? Can we also start with a motion? Yes, excellent. And next we will move on to old business. So here we have a report from the city flag update. It's the most recent updated version saying the panel of judges has finalized the 6 finalists, and 3 finalists will be revealed in January, and during that time, the public will be given their input. And then in February, after the public input is completed, and the judge will reconvene to weigh the public's feedback and select a finalist. So we will look forward to that, and then we will find this finalist reported to the annual plan, right, for 2024. And the next thing is Sarah Urath. She's being very instrumental in providing some support. Maybe she herself is not only an artist, but also a great activist. She has been sharing the information with our commission that there will be an upcoming 28th annual exhibition of artists in Michigan prisons, starting from March the 19th to April the 2nd, 2024. And the whole exhibition is composed of all the artworks made by the inmates, you know, from 25 state prisons, and 24 from the men's prison and 1 from the women's. I'm really looking forward to this exhibition, and we'll be very excited to see how art, right, being an activist power, empower these people, you know, to share their ideas, share their, you know, emotions, their feedbacks and their reflections about the life, you know, that they have been experiencing over in the normal world, and also in the world that they were just somehow imprisoned for what they had to you know, to pay some of the things. I'm so happy to see one of the professors in U of M many years ago. What's her name? Carol someone. And the professor, she has been working with a lot of women inmates to, you know, try to get their voices heard. And also in our church, Knox, and some photographer have interacted with inmates also, and probably did video interviews to the inmates about their stories, things. And this is an ongoing and global-wide project. I mean, I do see many other great artists, like French artists. They would kind of, you know, Chinese artists too. They somehow bring the sunlight. You know, most inmates had a complete darkened, you know, cells to live. And there was an artist who tried to reflect with a little mirror to reflect the sunlight into the inmates' cells. And that was a performance done by He Yunchang in the 1990s. And there was also an artist, I think he is a French one, and Jay-Z, I think, and he made maybe something, and he made a big mural on the ground, and then inside was the inmates, and they reach out, you know, to the outside world. But of course, everything he's painting on the mural on the ground floor was actually, you know, everything was happening inside the prison. But you can see some expressions of wishes, wisdoms, and dreams coming out from the inmates. And also he made a huge, like a blockade of walls, you know, wall paintings, expression, you know, about how much these inmates would look forward for a new life after they come out. So I'm assuming this is a great movement that's been going on. You know, the artist has been actively involved in helping out the underprivileged, the inmate stuff. And then we also have the Guild of Artisans. They will purchase an art fair artist. So you probably have heard about that, the sculpture, and that's a huge one. It's a donation to the city in honor of our bicentennial. And there will be a lot of discussion how to install that, and, you know, step by step, the maintenance, you know, to work on that. So we will definitely need Vanita and other city staff to report on where about this big sculpture will be located. On do you have any other old business we need to fill in now? Not much. Okay, Allison, how do you think we should carry forward from the last year, December, and up to the January? Maybe you have some special ideas you want to provide to feed in?
You mean as far as discussion for the plan?
Yes. And we know the call for the artist, the proposal, right, for the 2 parks, you know, the murals. That was sent out already. And I have a new update. After I talked with Allison, I got the PDF file, I got the news coverage. I sent out to both U of M students and to the EMU students through the student affairs and the dean there. And also, oh, there was a little thing I probably need to report. I was talking with Allison what needs to be done most urgently. And Allison has been very insightful saying we do need a social media intern, right? To update, you know, to promote what Ann Arbor Public Art Commission has been doing and will be doing. So actually I have an invite sent out, and one of the students that I'm teaching now at EMU, he's a graphic designer named Luke, and he wants to get more information. So after the meeting, maybe we should, just like Shawam, we should invite him on board and see how far his free time is to help us to update the social media or even create the posts for the social.
Yeah, that'd be great. If
Yeah.
you want to connect him with me and the rest of the
Sure.
I think it's the
Yes.
outreach working group,
Okay.
we can connect
Yeah.
with them, and
Excellent. Okay.
our communications
And-
working group. I don't know what our name
Sure.
is.
Communication. Yeah, there is. Okay, we need some subcommittees report from this committees later. So let's move on according to the agenda to new business. Okay, the new business, it's an exciting idea that Sophie Grillet is interviewed by the CTN, Ann Arbor's cable network. And you have presented our Public Art Commission. And could you please report on how you like that experience? You are on mute.
Yeah. So we were in a special projects group. We've been thinking about putting together a new project involving poetry. So could I share my screen, do you think?
Sure, I think Vanita can allow you.
Hang on, let me make sure the right one comes up.
Mhm.
Here we are. Okay, let's try that. Here we are. Right. Can everybody see that?
Yes, we are about to see that.
Okay, great.
It's being shared now.
Okay, so if you can see this, we met yesterday to talk about what we might do, and don't know what that's popping up down there, but I saw something in the LSA, the Michigan School of Literature, Science and Arts magazine, about a poetry project that they did in Hamtramck, where they got poets in multitude of languages. I don't know if you can see this: Polish, Macedonian, Hmong, Ukrainian, English, Arabic, Bangla, Dutch, Shona, and Ndebele. So I was thinking, I bet we could do that too, because I think we're bigger than Hamtramck, and probably have that diversity among us. And I really like the idea that English was one of the many languages. And it seems like some of the participants felt that too, that they really enjoyed the fact that their language was recognized as an actual language, and you can write poems in it, and it's a real thing. So So I was just thinking, could we do something similar in Ann Arbor? So that's what we were discussing. And so if we do this, we would need to create a call for poems from people. We decide that emphasize that it's multilingual, including English, obviously. Decide if we need any rules for non-violence or explicit language, and should there be different categories. Decide what age range. We were thinking probably high school and up, to get some really good poems. And then I wasn't sure if we should try and get poets to translate poems. And I've gotten in touch with the professor who was working with the other group to ask them how they did that, because her specialization is translation, so they may have done, but I don't know how it worked. So I thought that would be interesting to find out. Then, yeah, so we need to be able to get as many people as we can to contribute, decide whether we want to have a theme or just have it completely open, or both, so that you could choose to go with a theme or choose some other topic. Then we'd need to publicize it, try and find out, reach out to as many different groups as we can. Just going to make this a little bit bigger. I hope that helps. Yeah, so publicize it in a similar way that we've publicized some other things like the flag and the Golden Paintbrush Award, and make sure that it's easy to do, so that it'd be paper version or you can do an online version, and then do publicity for the event and the poems that we get in. So I was thinking we could probably liaise with Ann Arbor Public Libraries, because we've spoken to them in the past and they're very keen to help and to create exhibitions with us and things like that. So I was thinking that would be a nice way to go. We've discussing this together, and maybe even the public library might be involved in publishing a book of the poems afterwards. And then the question arose, do we judge the poems, or do we just accept all of the poems, or how do we do it? So there's quite a lot of decisions and to be made about how it should go, and I'd be very interested to hear what the rest of the commission thinks about it. We thought, rather than have prizes, the reward would simply be inclusion in the booklet, perhaps with a featured poem section at the front for the best few poems. And we'd need to create a timeline. Shouldn't need too much funding, but hopefully we would be able to fund enough to produce the little booklet and some of the publicity, and mailing the booklet to any poets who participated but couldn't come to the library readings, for example. And Shivam had some other suggestions. Both Shivan's suggestions and Jamal were saying maybe it could be a joint project with Ypsilanti. And IPSI apparently is looking for a youth poet laureate currently. I thought that's a really nice idea to have a city poet laureate. And he was also suggesting engagement with local schools, and he thought about fundraising, but as I say, hopefully we won't need fundraising, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, if anyone wants me to go back to a particular section or has a question or a suggestion, it would be great.
Thank you. That's a great idea. I remember last year, Sophie, we both are on the docent board, and some IPSI, right? High schoolers or the 5th graders, I think, or 3rd graders, right? They came to the UMA, and then they learn about the art pieces and they write about art pieces, and then they start to share the whole story they created based on the art piece they looked at from UMA. So there was some docents who are also supporting the writing, advising. It was beautiful. It's Ypsilanti. How many schools? I think more than a lot of schools. They bring in the third graders. So it's also an ongoing thing. Maybe that was a year ago, actually, last winter. I think they did that. It's not poetry, but it's a story. I think they create a story, a teamwork. It's not individual submission. It's a team. Okay, so this is we could account this as a new business, and we'll be think about it, and we can discuss it next meeting, and then we will definitely write it into our annual plan.
Can I ask a question, Sophie?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that, will this be in our minutes, or will Vanita be able to share this with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've emailed everybody with this as
Okay,
well. And
great.
there's a link to this actual document. So if you wanted to add some notes to that,
Okay,
that would be great. Maybe put it in a different color so we can see your suggestions, or do it as a comment so we
Okay.
can see the additional suggestions. That would be really cool, because I mean, obviously you have to have time to think about it probably a little bit and get an idea in some future moment and think, aha, why not this? So that would be, it'd be great if people could have a little read over it and see what they think and add things to that as well.
One question that I do think we need to kind of clarify is if there is some type of a budget for this as we move forward, and we talked about a booklet. Is there money available for special projects? I guess that's just a question in general that this subcommittee our special projects group wasn't sure. Anybody know that?
Thank you, Peggy.
Allison,
In the
Allison, isn't there?
I'm sorry.
We've used funding for special projects for the Golden Paintbrush Award for marketing in the Observer. So there is a precedent to use funds that are coming from, and excuse me if this is the endowment that we have that we can take out annually, but there are certain dates that we need to take those monies out by, and for certain reasons. But we have some access to some funding. We just need to know how much we would need to accomplish this project, essentially.
Yeah, do we know what the dates is, or is there a way to find out what the kind of deadlines are for doing that?
So basically once or twice a year, we can take out funding. I don't know what the exact dates are. There's some flexibility on that. The funding is the interest we earn on our endowment each year. And we had kind of earmarked that to go towards grants that we were going to put together, the mini grants. But we have used it for marketing for the Golden Paintbrush Award. And we haven't used much of it in the recent years. So there has been some, growth of it as well.
Okay, I also, excuse me.
Just depending on how much you're thinking, there's a small budget in there if we needed to throw some money at, I think more important than, or I would prioritize using a little bit of money to promote it, to get it off, give it legs and give it, a boost, rather than the printing of the booklet if you had to do an either or type thing, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to do both, because I think the booklet would actually be quite an important part of it for the poets who take part. But it doesn't have to be anything grand, just a little thing with staples, and maybe we can ask the library, because they have a publication wing, whether they might do that, or just find out how much it costs to do a simple little booklet at an Office Max or wherever. I don't know if they have an internal thing at Vanita in the council for printing booklets of any kind. And it's very hard to know how many there would be because we don't know whether we're going to get like 50 entries or 500 entries. So it's a little bit as long as a piece of string at this point.
I also have two questions for Sophie about this poetry involvement of people, the categories of people, like you said, the age groups. We just sending it out to all different age groups, the students, college and high school, whatever. And also, I'm wondering, is this counted, or have you ever thought about putting it into the bicentennial topic, or it just send out randomly as an invitation to to reflect on the 200 years of a number, or I mean, like Jamal is done. Okay, wondering Jamal, is Jamal also thinking involving the IPSI citizens, like?
Yeah, well, clearly if we involved IPSI, they would have to jointly provide some funds for publishing a book, which might get complicated. And I'm kind of inclined to try and start simple, and then if it's successful, take it from there. So, at this point, just starting with high school and up rather than doing younger kids as well, just starting with Ann Arbor and maybe, in the future, branching out and doing joint projects, because I do like the idea of joint projects with IPSI. I think we all do, but just to try and keep it manageable and see what it comes out like would probably be a thing. The other one is that we might be able to do it alternate, because if we're doing Golden Paintbrush every other year, then the in-between years, which this is one of, could be a poetry one, and just do it alternate years. So I don't know, all these things are possibilities, and we have to figure out a way to make decisions about how it happens. So
Are you the one
Yeah,
typing
yeah.
in the blue? Is that Jamal? Who's typing in the blue? Somebody, when we're under themes, right? My community, because I think that would be kind of interesting and yet
I
broad.
think that's Vanita.
Oh, Vanita's typing?
Is that?
No,
I
I'm
was
not
typing. I was typing.
Oh, you're
Oh,
typing?
okay.
Okay. I
So-
was like, nobody can
I
really.
couldn't quite hear your question, Peggy.
Oh, if you would add under themes, maybe my community
Mm.
or something to do with community, because then that could tie into the bicentennial, and it could encompass everything, climate or whatever. We talk a lot about community in school.
Yeah, my mention of Ypsilanti was based on a couple things, but not mandatory. One was, I just have a stronger connection to Ypsilanti poets. And two, because of the IPSI Youth Poet Laureate, they may have some sort of event that we could connect to. But I think, my only mention of that was just in case it would be an easier haul to join something that was already in existence versus trying to create something from scratch. So, but I have no problem with starting, Ann Arbor focus and then potentially collaborating later.
I mean, it may be a way to go to meet up with them and see what it would require or mean if we did a joint one. And I mean, we don't even know whether it's convenient or inconvenient for them if we join in. It might just make life harder for them as well. So we don't know. But
Right.
It'd be fine to meet up and talk it over and find out, what any advice they have as well. So that would be really good.
Yeah, and that was a charge I was going to take on, was just reaching out to the poets that I do know. One, to see if there was anything that, if they had connections to Ann Arbor poets that I don't know, that might be able to help guide how this looks. And if there's anything Ann Arbor based already that we could connect to, similar to the bicentennial, if there was something else.
Right.
Okay, we can
talk-
all, yeah.
Go ahead. It's fine.
Who's talking, please? Peggy, please.
Oh,
go
all I
ahead.
was going to say, I should put my hand up, was that when we met yesterday and we talked about this, it's just interesting because it's another form of art that we as a commission haven't done anything with before. So I like the fact that it's a different type of art. And I did talk to, I have a friend who is with he's an English teacher, but would love to be a writer. And he submitted a poem for the Observer, and I was asking him, like, how do you find entries? And since he's a graduate of U of M, there's some, and you people who work at U of M may know this connection. There's some newsletter that they send out to their grads to let them know when there are call for like writing pieces or poetry contests. So he saw the contest he entered, he saw it there. And then he also said a great place to advertise would be the bookstores. And it's possible that like Schuler's Books and Literati, that they might give us some funding and support us too. He saw posters at those bookstores when he would frequent them, and that's how he got the information for the contest that he enters. So just putting it out there that I think there's more people out there than we might think. It's not really in my realm because I love writing, but I'm not a writer per se. But I think it'll be met with great response. So I'm excited. Sophie, great idea.
Thank you. We can elaborate a little more on the details about how to go about this invitation send out and also the selection process. I assume it will be a lot of huge responsibilities, right, on the committee or on another subcommittee who can, inviting the expertise on poetry or creative writing to, do the selection process.
I think we were thinking that there wouldn't be any selection, that everybody would get to.
Get in.
As long as they, follow the rules, whatever rules we come up with about, non-violence, etc. Those, we might pick out a few that we liked a lot. And if we had a reading, we could probably choose partly from the way people read them as well, which ones are the, the exciting ones and so on. So I didn't want to have a selection process. And I think that perhaps that's part of it, is to not have a selection process. Everybody gets to be in,
Sure.
They don't all have to be in the front of the book. One of them can be further back.
Okay, so I'm happy you bring this up, and it's like Peggy said, it's a new form of art, and we're extending and broaden up the sphere of influence into poetry, writing. It's a great input. And next, let's move on to report from staff.
Okay.
Yeah. Vanita, can you let us know any other new programs coming up?
Yes, what I have there thus far is we have Mary's Watco agreement with the city attorney's office. So we'll be moving that forward. Mary and I and Brian Steglitz will be meeting, I believe it's this Friday, Mary, to go over the next steps to make sure that we have her and her team still on track for the murals this spring.
Yeah, excellent. We look forward to see Mary's new project setting up very soon. And I actually have discovered a lot of, new public art project has been going on across the Ann Arbor city border. And I'm really looking forward to your new ones. And also, I'm so excited that Allison is suggesting that we need probably write an update about the new public art pieces, right? Adding up to our virtual tour on the website. So Vanita, we have a question. If we happen to have this new student intern on board, maybe the city council can somehow allow him or her access to revise on the posts and update the virtual tour to the different art projects there.
That'd be awesome. We don't currently have funding for staffing, so if we have a volunteer who'd like to participate and take photos, best to, of course, get those in the springtime. I put out a couple of other feelers there for internal staff support. I'm still awaiting for a decision. That's always my first thought, is if I get some additional team support, our current tour is really dated. I mean, just that quick. We really do have a lot of new items that need to be represented on that public art tour.
Okay, all right. I think Jamal might need to leave, so now would you please step on and thank you for helping me to be, you know, supportive on this first meeting, and maybe you have something to report.
No, nothing to report. I still got a little bit of time. I can hang out till what time is it? I can't even. I'm on my phone.
It's 7:40 almost.
Okay, yeah, I still got about 15 minutes.
Okay, all right. So shall we now move on to, okay, anybody else who have questions so far for the new business or businesses? Okay, Sarah, please.
I had a question of where the website updates, what working group that would fall under.
Mm,
Do we know?
working
Communications.
That would be,
communications.
Communications,
Yes.
yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
so
And just generally, we've all decided if we see something that needs to be updated on the website, we can communicate with Vanita about it.
Mhm.
We're all stewards of the website.
so the communications group has updates to the tours and potentially a social media intern that could maybe also do those updates. That would be goals for the upcoming year.
Mhm.
Who's
Yeah.
on that committee?
I
think it's Sarah and myself.
but there's room for two more.
Yeah, I would be very happy to, to
Okay.
participate in the communication group. Yes.
Marionetta, were you still on that group?
I was never on communications. I was on outreach.
Okay.
I don't think I was.
Okay, so now it's our committee reports. So shall we, okay, Sarah, no, Sophie, you still have something.
I
Okay.
just wanted to ask about the website, and I'm sure I've asked this before, but I can't remember what the answer was, unfortunately. Can we have links to further pages, or do we already have links to further pages on the website, or does everything sort of go on the one page, or how does that work?
The public art webpage doesn't currently have any links. We are based off of our current communications policy. They tend to shy away from adding too many links to an external city page.
No, I don't. I mean internal, if our page can link to another internal page.
Yeah, but it's still
Quickly.
a city monitored website. So we've asked them these questions before, and I can actually have somebody give us some more detail. I think we don't have any links there now for any other external sites. And maybe if we give them a particular list of where we'd like to link to, and as long as they're safe, they may be willing to allow us to move in that direction.
Yeah, I understand that that could be problematic, but what I was thinking was that do we have internal links, so you could link to a page that was specifically about the Golden Paintbrush Award, or was specifically about, you know, the more information about the public art tour, or just whatever it happened to be, that it was actually things.
It's just one long page. We don't
Yeah.
have it as a tiered page. They don't want to have a tiered page. They don't want to have a diverse website with lots of multiple pages. It's just like a one streaming page, which is actually what I have heard from website developers. The new way of doing a website is that you just kind of have a page that streams all one page with all your information, as opposed to having multiple pages that you go to find your information.
Then you have
So
a
that's
sort
what
of-
we're doing right now, is like all that information you've mentioned, I believe, is all on our page. It's just you scroll down for it.
Okay,
And we
there's-
could like reorder it when it makes sense. So like when Golden Paintbrush is currently taking calls, maybe that's at the top of our page as opposed to further down or something like that, to sort of prioritize the information, perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah, and as you begin to start new projects, that could be a piece that we could add as well.
Okay, and is there some kind of nav bar that just goes within the page, with anchors within the page, so you can navigate the one page that we have, or do you have to just keep scrolling? Do we know that? I should go look.
You could add, I mean, if it's linking to a different part within the page, you could do that, but there's not really that much information on the page. It's not, I mean, you can scroll the whole page in 1 minute.
Yeah, no, well, I was just thinking it'd be nice if there was more information on the page, but or linked
If
pages.
you take a look at the page right now, Sophie, it's actually been recently updated.
Mm.
So it's one single page, but what we could also do is once you, I believe, bounce into the Ann Arbor Public Art Commission, there may be some menu tabs that we could use on the side. And I'm not sure if those still take you down further into the page. So I could help navigate that just a little bit by talking to our communications team. Because when you go to our page, we do have a menu portion at the left-hand side. And I think we do announcements and some things like that and some upcoming, I think the flag project may have been there, or it may have actually have been embedded in the full site. So you have to let me know what you really would like to see there, and that's going to be most valuable to the commission as a whole.
I think one of the things that I know that you can't have external links, but we're always going to have call for entries for different projects. And in that menu, if there was a place that people could just easily go to call for entries. So it would be updated, whether it was an event, but whatever our calls are, would always be in that spot, and that could be updated and rotated fairly easily, I would think. So Sophie's suggestion of the poetry project would go in that call for entries. The golden paintbrush would automatically go in that call for entry. So it would just be this kind of rotating spot where people could easily access information about how to apply for different projects that we're promoting.
And the grants when they come, and also maybe something that makes it easy for people to say, I would like to come and address one of our meetings, and this is who do I contact and the topic they're interested in telling us about, or whatever, so that it's more open, accessible, and useful. That would be, I think that would be an aim. I don't know whether this intern could be involved in that or not, so that would be nice.
Thank you for all these inputs and discussions. Mary Sifo, would you like to add something more?
I think like an FAQ would be really helpful, because a lot of people ask me, what is the Art Commission? What do you guys do? What are your goals? I mean, that could be nice, actually.
Yes, also add on, yes. Okay, let's move on to our report from committees. And yeah, we have already talked about the communications, right? The outreach committee has anything to report?
Nothing to report for outreach.
And special project from John? The special project, yeah, committee?
It's the developers committee.
Yeah,
But
developers, okay.
There were two projects that came up before the design review board. I think I sent around a report that's detailed. Does anyone have any questions? Well,
I had a quick question, John. The one report, it said that they were proposing a mural on the project, like a relief mural. What was that going to be? Did they actually like have details on it, or just saying they were gonna have a wall that they were gonna do art on?
Pretty much they were going to have a wall that we were going to do art on.
Oh, okay.
It's the process. So that this is the very first step in a design, and it's intended to be sketchy so that they can really change it depending on the feedback they get from this design review board. So that, you know, once you get the feedback from this, it then goes to the planning commission, and then it starts, the project becomes more and more refined. But that particular project is on South University, and John Majewski is the architect that's handling that, and he's highly regarded in Ann Arbor, and he's very creative, And so he has, and I left one sort of image. It says mural that he wanted to have kind of a relief mural so that it wasn't just a painted image, that it really had some depth to it, which I applauded. And he really was excited to, one, see someone representing the Art Commission on the Design Review Board. And so he said that he would really like to get our engagement in helping with that. I also suggested that if you could find the space, if you know where that, if you kind of visualize, it's the Galleria building on South University, and so it's kind of surrounded. It's going to go from South University all the way to the back, and I suggested if you can find any space, a small little courtyard or even interior space for a rotating art gallery. He really liked that idea. So, I also did the same thing with the other project, which is more problematic. That project is on Madison, and it is it's just north of the Fingerly property, and so it is taking an entire block. It's the design is very blockish, and so in kind of the architectural planning part, it's massing. The building, everyone had complaints about the massing. It kind of looked kind of like a prison block almost, and it was met with a lot of opposition from neighbors. It's sort of a historic strip, and this particular developer was taking about 20 properties and combining them all and creating just as many bedrooms as he possibly could. So people had on the design review board challenges as well as staff. The planning staff had a lot of challenges about they're going to attempt to rezone that area, and what they were putting there was inconsistent with the existing historic homes and inconsistent actually with what's going in the Fingerly, because U of M purchased the Fingerly and they're putting a new quad in there, South Quad. And so there's an image on that property, the material that I sent around. And it's, I mean, U of M just goes all out. It's wonderful. And it's gonna set in stark contrast to this. It's all brick and stone, and this is just blockage, and they're using right now. I think they heard enough opposition from neighbors, from the design review board, that they're going to redesign this thing, and they were encouraged to add more brick and more value materials in it, and try to build off of South Quad, and to make it kind of consistent with that, and really try to add some of the historic character of the neighborhood. So I think they got the message, and I don't think that as it was presented will be continued. Sophie?
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Frank. I agree that it was very blocky. And there was quite a few pretty nice developments in that neighborhood. So I think on Hoover or something, and around there, various new residential apartment blocks that are really nice and have balconies. And I think balconies should be a requirement by the design review board nowadays. I mean, every other country you go to, they would have balconies. They would never dream of building something that was residential without them. And it's the equivalent of having a porch for the houses that are there. So if you want to be in keeping, they really should have a little bit of outdoor space for each family or each group of people who are living there, to make it nice for them who are inside, but also to connect them with the outdoors and with their neighbors and make it look less like a prison block, as you say. I think that really that should be part of the city's requirements for new residential places.
Well, let me just respond a little bit. Good ideas. And this idea came up in the John Majewski, whose project did include balconies. First of all, the design review board can't require anything. And in fact, the city is somewhat limited on requiring that kind of detail. So the design review board intentionally is intended to persuade with good ideas as opposed to laws and requirements. So, and when you really get into zoning, you get into a real quagmire. Restrictive zoning doesn't work. The cities end up spending millions in law cases and ending up with the same ugly building because the courts can find inconsistencies and clients can find inconsistencies in how it's applied one way or the other. An interesting point about the balconies. I totally agree with you, Sophie, that having a balcony is just it's wonderful. I like kind of going out on it. However, it was brought up with the project on South University. Some people said that balconies are nice in a new building that's not occupied. But when you start adding students, all you have to do is go around to the porches behind Division Street and just see all of the clutter, and it no longer is very pleasant to look at. And in particular, there's a lot of studies from communities, university communities that have these high rises with balconies, and there's just all kinds of laundry and mattresses and flags, and so it really does clutter up rather than make it be pleasant. So so there was some opposition about the balconies that Majewski presented, and Majewski basically said that he realizes and recognizes that, and since he's really attuned to the management, it really requires a lot of management if you're going to add a balcony to a student residential building. So I just offer that as kind of a feedback. I'm not disputing what you said. I agree with it.
And I have a little feedback. Actually, I know a professor from U of M. He's in the architecture department. Maybe he has some ideas. I mean, he has been visiting China, Mexico, big cities, crowded ones, and a lot of them have large residential communities. Maybe he has some ideas. I can see if he's interested in giving us some ideas. Maybe John, or maybe it's not into our meeting, but it could be outreach, right? For you to talk with the design review board, whatever, get some new ideas.
Well, I would encourage him to talk with the city planners. It's the planners that need to be persuaded that this could work. So I have very little clout, frankly, on the design review board, much less with the city planners. I mean, I come from the art commission, and so that, but so I would, rather than have me be a conduit, I can recommend, planners that he sit down and talk with, and he can basically say that he heard this from the art commission, that, and that he can listen to the design review board videos and hear directly some of the challenges to John Majewski and how Majewski sort of responded to it, and this would better help. So I'm just reporting back what I hear, you know, I don't claim to be an expert in any kind of zoning or design of big buildings, particularly this. I was surprised to hear the kind of feedback about the balconies.
Okay, so I think still we have 2 or 3 minutes. Jamal, would you like to report on the Youth Outreach Working Group?
Nothing to report. I was going to ask Marianetta before I jump off. I know we were communicating about connecting with the IPSI Art Commission. Did you get a chance to speak with them or meet with them?
I met with Aaron Seagrave. That his name?
Okay. Yeah.
And but I'll follow up in the new year.
Okay.
But we did have coffee conversation,
Thank you.
and he was open. He was saying that the IPSI Arts Commission was in transition.
Right.
The end of we met the end of the year, and so they weren't kind of fully formed yet. I think he only had 2 or 3 members. But I'll reach back out to him now with the new year and see where they're at. He had mentioned that the Art Commission and the city planning, was it city planning, had merged in IPSI. So things were kind of in flux when we met. But I did reach out to him, and I'm hoping that we can connect with one of our meetings. We could find a time that the 2 commissions can meet. But on Zoom.
Okay.
Even if that's a
Thank you.
special, even if that's a special meeting,
Okay,
I think it's important.
it is. Thank you, Marietta.
Yeah. I don't
And
have anything else. Take care. Great job, Fawn.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
have a
safe
safe
travels,
journey, safe
Jamal.
travel,
Thank you.
Jamal. See you
Thank
in
Have
March.
fun.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I also have something a little bit side conversation I did with Allison. As me and Sophia are working for WUMA as docents, and WUMA also, I mean, the university itself, the president has been, the old one, the past one has been thinking about installing a lot of new public art sculptures on the campus. I might reach out to find out who is responsible for that, and maybe we can invite some curators or the commissioners for the public art in the university to come on board. I mean, just into our meeting and talk about how they run that program, so we can get some insight from that. Thank you. Okay, so any other reports from different working groups? We've done, some capital improvement project working group. Do you have anything to report? Nothing? Oh, I revisited the art enhancement recommendations made last year in June 2023. There are a couple of, big ideas. We talk about where to possibly install some, or, think about inviting artists to submit some artworks for conservations, right? Those are a lot of public park areas and a lot of sidewalks and trails. Allison, could you report on that? And should we, for our annual plan 2024, should we also include some of these?
Well, we generally in that report, we link to our most current recommendations. So we probably won't have new recommendations right away. We are meeting next week, actually, the CIP group, to review the current capital improvement projects that just came out this month. So we're going to take a look at that and take a quick stab at it, and then we'll meet with city staff to better understand those projects, because some of them are kind of vague on what they are, and they just know more about if they're actually going to happen or how much funding there is associated with all of those. So we'll probably be adding hopefully a few projects to the list in the next couple months.
Okay, excellent. So the leadership working group, we just formulated. Okay, can I just report on what has been in my mind? Okay, thank you, Marietta. Thank you, Sophie, for your patience. I'm thinking for the upcoming February, me and Jamal, and maybe being supported by Allison, will formulate a annual plan with goals to achieve, and then we will allow you the access to edit. And so probably we need to wait a little bit, maybe until our next meeting to approve on the annual plan before submitting to the city hall. Is that what we should be going around for the submission?
Yep, you guys will create the new plan based off of conversations in this meeting
Sure.
and other working groups. And then we can review it in our next meeting, which I think is in March. And then once we all approve it, then it can go to city council.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Marietta.
Fung,
Oh, yeah.
Fung, I would be happy to join that conversation for the plan if you would
Yeah.
like.
Thank you. That's the leadership working group plan. Okay. Thank you.
Is it the leadership? Okay.
Yes. Thank you for the support. And Marietta?
I just had a question. You know, there was a conversation last year about the band shell, and I was just wondering an update. Does anyone know what's happening with that?
I have not heard any updates about the band shell. I think it was a structural issue that was the most worrying about. So that was the meat of what the I think the funds were for the band shell, but I have not heard an update of, you know, they were, I think, doing a lot of research to see if they needed to remove it completely, because I think it was in kind of a flooded area. And so there was just concern about
That would be sad.
so I know it's unfortunate. And they were even thinking, I think about like, could they move it somewhere else to a different location and try to salvage it in some way? But I have not heard any updates. That's something that maybe as we move forward with the new CIP list, we could review the band shell and ask for any updates, and we'll definitely share those.
Okay, thank you.
Benita, there was a gentleman who came and talked to us about the band shell. I don't remember his name. Do you think you could reconnect with him and see if there are any updates?
Yeah, I could do that.
That would be great.
I am not quite sure if he presented to us as part of an additional presentation, and the band shell kind of came in the middle of that. I could go back through our notes too and see if I could find who that was actually.
Okay, great.
Okay, do we have any reports from the fundraising working group?
Oh,
Okay, Sarah.
Sorry,
Go.
could I just go back a moment to the previous conversation? There was a presentation a couple of presentations we had about parks improvement things. I just wondered if there'd been any updates on either of those. One was just, I think it was the B2B trail or something. They were going to do some interesting sculptures and invite artists to do inputs on like a gateway and various things. The other was, I think the kind of track that goes next to that old City Depot building by the Y. Can't remember what it's called now. Somebody might know, where there's a stream under the ground that's creating issues right next to the rail
But that
trail.
wasn't
You have
Parks.
got Allen Creek.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
wasn't
one.
Parks that came and talked to us. That was the Allen Creek project.
That was the Allen Creek. Yeah.
So I wondered if on either of those there was any updates, or if there's a place where we can find about updates, or just we had some really nice presentations about both of them, and then I don't know what happens after that.
I think the Allen Creek was just that it is an idea that there's still planning, that there's some planning that has been talked about. So I could circle back in some of our city notes to see if there's something on the website that could provide an update. And I think it was just giving the commission information and letting them know what they'd like to do in that area. There's still a lot of things that will prevent them from working in that space. with some of the art designs that they had planned. As far as the gentleman and the band shelter, I think those might have been about the same time of maybe back to back. So I can look back through the notes on those meetings and see, and just reach out in general and see if you get some information. And
I wanna
remember, all of
say
these things are coming up underneath the CIP at
Right.
some point. So as you all begin to look at the CIP again, these should actually resurface and start to move up a little further at some point on your list.
Right, except for the Allen Creek, because that's not city.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's a independent nonprofit.
Yeah.
But I want to say that Argo, so the parks people that came in, they were talking, one of the things they were talking about was the Argo, like that one-way bridge area. There's some improvements they were going to do there with a potential of a sculpture or something. I think that one was coming on board fairly soon, was it not, Vanina?
I think so.
Like in the next year or so? So we
Yeah.
might see something about that sooner rather than
Yeah,
later.
and I've been pleasantly surprised that as staff is getting to the project on their list and things come up for them, that they're reaching out to the commission more and more. So I'm really appreciative of them being real cautious and letting us know and keep us in the loop of a lot of things. And I hope it continues because I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, one of the things that the previous or the earlier conversation about the website had me starting to think about was that probably the call for the basketball courts, that call probably wasn't on our website per se, was more likely on the parks website. But I guess there's not any reason we couldn't link to the parks site on our website. So that might make sense to kind of incorporate us in those communications more.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm not, yeah, we can check that. I don't know that I've seen anything even come out for that yet. I can't off the top of my head remember the timeline that he had, but yeah, we should be soon here.
And I know when I was reviewing the notes, it looked like it was going to be like done by now, but we were kind of like, that's way too short of a timeline. So maybe they've looked at
Yeah.
a way longer call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty short
Yeah.
short call that was out there. I don't know how many entries they got, but yeah, as far as I remember, I saw the call, and it seemed pretty quick. So
Yeah, I can circle back with Manny and get an update.
Okay. John?
Yes, I'm really sorry. I apologize. I'm going to have to leave.
Oh, sure.
And
You're almost there.
but good work, Fong. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
everyone. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, John. Have a good
Bye.
night.
Good night. So yeah, we've done the special according to the agenda. We've done the special presentations, and do we have any other things we should discuss before we adjourn? Okay, Mary.
I'm very curious about our involvement with the bicentennial and what events are taking place, how we can be a part of it. I mean, I think this is
Sure.
an amazing opportunity for the Public
Yeah,
Art Commission to be seen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of art that's going to be happening, a lot of art that's not necessarily specifically directed to the bicentennial, like our big underpass project, but it will be going up. It will be in celebration of the city. It's a gateway project. How can the Public Art Commission get more involved? And from what I understand, it seems pretty, it's kind of kicking off, but it's a little bit of a slow start.
Mm-hmm. Vanita, do you have any updates?
I don't have any updates, but I could certainly, I actually think we're just kind of moving things along here a little bit.
Yeah.
There are a lot of ideas that are floating around. There are a lot of staff input for a lot of different ideas. This is the bicentennial is actually in, I think, between 2 or 3 different groups. So sustainability is really prominent in this bicentennial year as well. So I could reach out to them to see if they have some information and where the Public Art Commission can come in and provide some support or assistance. something else, you know, and the flag is a big thing right now, which is coming out of the bicentennial program as well. There's
Okay.
something else in there, I just can't think of it off the top of my head. Something else recently came in, or there was a question about. I'm sorry, I don't have it, and I understand. We've reached out to them for a little bit of funding for some small projects. We had not heard back from them just yet about use of some of the sustainability funds for that. Yeah, Cynthia might, yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, I was just saying I can check in with the city administrator. I met with him yesterday, but my next meeting I can ask him how the Public Art Commission can, where their involvement could fit in.
Sure.
So
Excellent.
I'll do that as well.
Sophie and then Sarah.
Yes, I think it was Sarah actually, possibly yesterday, maybe that's what you were going to say, said that there is a website which is a2bicentennial.org where you can find out all the things that are so far planned. So that's quite helpful. We should have a link to that on our website.
I'm working with Amy Carbo from Destination Ann Arbor on the and she's on the Bicentennial Planning Committee. So the first kickoff celebration is January 19th, and you can attend that. I believe that tickets are $50. And that's kind of the kickoff celebration at the Michigan Theater. I'm involved just with Motawi. We're doing a bicentennial tile that is going to be unveiled, the design, but it's fun, and they're going to be there's a beautiful mural that is going to be created as well. And so the artist behind that mural is going to speak at that event. And then there are many other speakers. Community Jazz Band will be there. So I believe the proceeds go to supporting bicentennial efforts. So this is also kind of fundraising for the bicentennial. I will be there at this kickoff celebration. I think, if you're interested in kind of meeting the people behind it, that's a great place to go. And then I am more than happy, Mary, to share my contacts with you.
Sure. Yeah, please do.
That's
Please do.
awesome. I'll get a ticket. That sounds really fun.
Okay, so do we still have any other things we still need to get ideas and summarize or submit for the new plan upcoming? Can we have a motion for everything is settled and we will have to call it adjourn?
I propose adjournment.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming in this busy, cold night. And again, Happy New Year. Wish you all the best.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy New Year. Great job,
Nice
Fung.
job. Great
Looking
job.
forward
you.
to this year.
Yes, I'm so happy. Yeah, it started off already, the centennial. But the first year I moved to Ann Arbor was 2016, and then I heard about the bicentennial of U of M. So right after I have a half year working with Ann Arbor Public Art Commission, there's the Ann Arbor bicentennial. So it's just pure, coincidence. Yeah, it's great.
That's great.
I'm so happy
That's
to
great.
enjoy, the whole life. And we'll see, bicentennial, tricentennial, whatever, it's in the future. And the city will be there and we won't be there, but we've contributed our great intelligence and idea to support a great city. And our forefathers have done a great path, and we are the ongoing promoters, and we look forward. Yeah, we do need to get in some younger people, right, to be more interested, involved, and they will be the new leaders for the future. So yeah, any new persons, new people, students that are interested, just let us know, and definitely I will put Luke in contact with Allison for our social media posts in turn. Anything else? No, thank you all. Thank you all, Sarah, Peggy,
Thank
Mary,
you. Good to see you
Sophie.
all.
Good to
Bye.
see you all.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you all.
Good night.
Bye.
Happy New
Good
Year.
night.
Good night.
Thanks, Cynthia.